Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining me for another video. My name is JC of The Mindful Awakening, and tonight we are going to be talking about the full moon in Scorpio that's happening in 2 days. We are 2 days away from the full moon in Scorpio happening on April 26th to the 27th, depending on where you're located on this beautiful planet. I'm in Toronto, so for me it'll be on the 26th. So for me, 2 days away. Grab yourself some wine. Today I am drinking a Cali red. We got Snoop Dogg's red wine in the house tonight. So go grab yourself some wine, red, white, whatever you like to drink, coffee, tea, water for some. This is going to be an intense conversation. So go grab yourself a drink. Cheers to my Taurus fam who are celebrating birthdays this month, and to all my fellow Geminis, my beautiful Geminis who are celebrating birthdays in May. Cheers to you as well. Thank you, 19 Crimes. Thank you, Snoop Dogg. That is delicious red wine. I'm instantly in a better mood just because of that. Anyway, this full moon is going to be a very triggering one. And the reason why I say that is for multiple reasons. New moons and full moons are beautiful periods. New moons, as we know, they bring about a fresh energy where our possibilities seem limitless, where we become reinvigorated, more hopeful, more positive. Full moons, on the other hand, while those things can still exist, while these feelings can still exist for full moons, I've just found that full moons really are about going deep, about getting honest with yourself. And I've said this time and time again, but this full moon in particular is in water. Scorpio is deep. Scorpio is all about going underneath the surface, way below the surface, to areas of ourselves that maybe we have spent a lot of time ignoring, spaces that we've been too afraid to revisit, feelings that are attached to very triggering, sometimes traumatic moments in our lives that have acted as catalysts in the way that we see ourselves, in the way that we see the world. And this full moon really is about going down deep beneath all the defense mechanisms that we've placed and trying to figure out what kind of relationship we really have to our authentic selves. Mars entered into Cancer not too long ago, just a couple days ago, and this automatically signals a lot of up and down emotions, very extreme highs, very extreme lows. And you might have been feeling this. You might have been feeling like you can't go back to your past. The future is really unclear and uncertain. And you're just stuck in this very strange, limbo-like, hazy, unsettled space. You're in the in-between. You're in the bifurcated space between the person that you once knew and this version of yourself that you can sense, but not have a clear view to. And in this full moon, emotional honesty is going to be key for maintaining your outside relationships, but also maintaining the relationship that you have with yourself. This is going to be a very triggering time where the more that you resist dealing with the things that are really scary for you, the more you'll see them come up in people. The more that people, the closest relationships that you have, are going to mirror back to you that which you are trying to avoid. Now, this might not be extreme. It might not show up as an extreme blow up with someone you love. However, I promise you that the things that you have pretended over time that are not real issues, they're going to show up in conversations that you may have in passing, in someone's behavior that all of a sudden just really ticks you off and you have no idea why. You could be standing in line at the grocery store and someone might say something to someone else, and for some reason, something bubbles up inside of you and you feel an emotional response that on any other day, maybe you wouldn't have felt that same way. Maybe you wouldn't have reacted that way. All of these things are normal. And I was watching a video from another astrologer that I follow who is absolutely incredible. I talked about him in my last video, but I was watching David Palmer's take on this full moon, and he mentioned something that resonated with me so deeply. And in my own reflection, upon preparing for this video, it just really felt like he said it best. And to paraphrase, he said that this is going to be a time for individuality within community and really trying our best not to give up who we truly are for the sake of a collective idea. And what he means by that, and what I gather from that and how I feel about all of that, is that over this past year, maybe year and a half now, since some major world events have happened, a lot of us have been dealing with fear, wanting to know the answers, wanting to have solutions, wanting to fast forward to the time and place where what reality is right now is no longer our reality. A lot of us have grown frustrated. A lot of us have become resentful, impatient, angry, sad, alone. And the danger when everything is taken away and all that we are left with in this time and space is your phone, the internet. We can easily see how the division playing out among people right now really is just reflecting to us the brokenness of humanity. And what I mean by that is we as a society have become so consumed with this idea of social credit, of social validation. And I know y'all know what I'm talking about, because I even do it. I say it all the time after my videos. Please like this video, subscribe to my channel, hit that notification bell, blah, 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 right? Like we are constantly bombarded with these physiological side effects and psychological side effects of consuming on a mass scale. Consumption of social media, consumption of information, consumption of entertainment, what we even consider to be entertainment or information, all of these things have transformed so much throughout time. And we really have, as a society, been programmed to want that instant validation that comes with getting a like, that comes with getting a subscribe, that comes with getting a comment. And every time we engage in this created reality of the internet, and we put something out there, and in return we get that like, that subscribe, that comment, our brains release the chemical of dopamine, and we immediately feel a sense of gratification, we feel a sense of validation, and our response to that is to produce more of that content that elicited that reaction from our audience, even that word our audience is engaging with. And if you really stop to think about that, that's pretty fucked up. Let me get my wine. It's pretty messed up, because that in and of itself, the structure of normalcy that we have all agreed upon through our engagement and through our participation of this said, literally virtual space, has created such an impact and disconnect between us as divine spirit and human experience. Because if you really believe that we are all spirits encased in this human shell, that we all reincarnated into this particular time and space for a specific reason, then you really have to start questioning where it is that we have lost our uniqueness and individuality in exchange for that social validation that we so crave through these methods of technology that have become so real that they're hyper real. We are living in a postmodern age of hyper reality. It's literally the Truman Show, and all of us are Truman. And once you disengage from that and you take some time away to really become one with spirit, one with yourself, you might start to hit some sort of existential crisis. And now it might not show up for you exactly the way that I'm describing it, which seems pretty extreme and it sounds very scary. But the way that it might show up for you is one day you might wake up and realize that your best friend, who has always had a way of speaking to you that you've always kind of brushed off, one day you just wake up and realize you just want to say something about it all of a sudden. It's just no longer okay with you. And you have this need to say something about it and address it. For other people, this might be that you finally build up the courage to have a conversation with your partner that you've avoided. You know, maybe you'll realize that you've been in a relationship with somebody for X amount of time, and you know, maybe you've never really been totally in it, but it's good enough so you stay for the time being. And you might realize during this period of time that you just can't do that anymore. And for your partner, it might come out of left field. It might be confusing. It might piss them off and make them angry because it just seems like it's so random. And yet for you, saying these things out loud and validating your experience may be the very thing that sets you free. For others of you, this could be in a job. You know, I'll just hold on to this job just a little bit longer. I'm so lucky to even be working right now, but I'm not happy. I feel really unfulfilled. I have all of these goals and dreams, but I don't know how to get it going. So I'm going to leave that on the back shelf for someday, one day, because I'm not ready yet. And you might wake up during this lunation period and realize, I just can't go back to that place anymore. I gotta go. I don't know where I'm going or what I'm doing. I know that other job, that creative thing I really wanted for myself is still there. And I don't know why, but I just feel like today is the day I'm finally just gonna try it. And this might feel counterintuitive because as human beings, we crave safety. We crave knowing the outcome before we even get there. We are so afraid of taking a step into the unknown And this period of time is really going to be about facing your deepest fears and going inward to understand why you're afraid of the thing you're afraid of to begin with. Why are you afraid to say it out loud, whatever your truth happens to be? Are you afraid of social judgment? Are you afraid of being made wrong? Are you afraid of conflict? Are you afraid that you'll have to defend yourself? Are you afraid that people will look at you differently? Are you afraid that you might not be liked anymore? Are you afraid that you might not even like yourself? What are the skeletons in your closet? And this is less to do about finding your skeletons and putting them out on display for everyone to see. This really is going to be more about accepting the skeletons of your own that are there, recognizing that part of your healing journey, part of your soul's purpose is to clear yourself from that karma. Part of your purpose is to create a space in which generations after you no longer have to deal with the same patterned behaviors that you learned from the generation before, that they learned from the generation before, and so on and so forth. And I'm hoping for all of you, including myself, that we will remember how powerful we are, what our spirit is actually calling us to do, what our purpose on this planet actually is, so that we may be courageous in our own self-discovery. We may be generous and patient with ourselves during the times and days where we may be disappointed with how we've been, where we can exercise forgiveness for where we didn't show up authentically, for where we can admit our shortcomings and realize that it's a place for us to grow. I hope and I pray that all of us will use this transit in a way that uplifts one another, in a way that uplifts ourselves. Because oftentimes, the worst people to deal with is ourself. Let me rephrase that. You are your worst enemy in everything. And who really do you need to impress? Do you really need that like on Instagram? Do I really need that subscribe on YouTube? You know, it would be nice, that would be great. But do these likes and social validation make me who I am? And ask yourselves the same question. What lens do you see yourself from? And where have you been playing small, even to yourself? Where have you been trying to force yourself in a cookie cutter mold that you know just is not for you? Where have you been lying to yourself about where you're happy? These are the things that are going to show up during this period of time. And of course, full moon, new moon energy can be felt for days, sometimes even weeks after it happens. And this will be challenging and necessary. So necessary for us to reconnect with ourselves. We are living in such interesting times. And the only way that we will be able to be a stand for other people, to hold space for other people, is to do the inner work ourselves, and to do it consistently, even when it's scary, and to do it without praise, because the only person that you have to answer to is yourself. You got to praise yourself, clap yourself up, and do the inner work that you've been avoiding. Because anytime you start acting from a place of inauthenticity, that then gets reflected back out into the universe. And then everybody else, if you just imagine everyone else on the planet acting inauthentically, when you combine all of us together and the whole planet acts that way, and all of us are participating in low vibrational fear-mongering ways, what then happens is we end up destroying the vibration of the collective. And all of us are working so hard to bring the collective consciousness to a 5D place. And the only way we can do that is if we continue to do our own individual work and hold space for others who have not yet woken to their purpose on this planet. It's not about making them wrong. It's not about making them afraid. It's about being able to recognize the fear that lies within all of us. And it's about healing yourself so you can continue to hold space for everybody else. And if we just continue to be supports, what will end up happening is we will build a community of like-minded spiritual beings who are interested in the same thing, and that's to elevate the entire planet so that all of us can fulfill our soul purpose. And that is what the full moon is going to bring to us in 2 days. Intense, I know. Honestly, I've been doing so much reflecting. This video was gonna go up a week ago, and over the last few nights, I've just felt like I keep getting downloads and downloads and downloads of just new, really difficult things. And it's been really challenging for me to transmute that energy and to communicate it in such a way that's digestible to even myself. Because it's hard. Feelings can be really challenging because we like to intellectualize them. We like to understand why it's happening that way. And then we like to control them. We like to control them because we want to be able to also control the outcome and the reactions of other people and the judgments of other people. And I encourage you all, whoever's watching this right now, lean into those hard feelings, because it's those hard things, those exact things that you're running from, that are blocking you from having that authentic relationship with yourself. And once you reach that point where you can't take it anymore, trust that. That's spirit talking to you, telling you, yo, it's time. Cheers to that. Let's take one more sip. All right. So I did choose a couple of crystals for our reading today. The first one is a tiger's eye. Will it focus? Hopefully it'll focus. There we go. This is a tiger's eye. And the reason why I chose a tiger's eye is to help give us courage and strength in our own discovery of what's in the way of us healing our trauma. So we have a tiger's eye pyramid. And then I also chose this crystal. This is a raw piece of black tourmaline. Super, super protective crystal. This is honestly one of my go-tos, one of my favorites. Oftentimes when you are coming into yourself and you're learning to start expressing yourself in an authentic way, the people who are used to your inauthentic self as being who you are, they will be confused. They'll be confused and concerned and wondering why you feel and sound so different from who they know you to be, and maybe even who you know yourself to be, especially if you've been so disconnected to who you are for a while. And that's why I chose this black tourmaline stone, to protect you from the evil eye, but also to protect you from people who may wish you ill will. So this is for courage and this is for protection. And together, I just feel like this is a perfect combination for this full moon. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and start pulling some cards. We have here our Lightseers Tarot deck. So if you chose the Tiger's Eye, this one is for you. All right, we have the Page of Wands in reverse. Afraid to take a stand, afraid to start that passionate new cycle, afraid to really take on the thing that lights you up, afraid to move. Can we get some clarification for the Page of Wands? What are we afraid of? It's like you're holding yourself back from speaking your truth. Again, this is if you pick the Tiger's Eye, this reading is for you. Afraid of speaking your truth, holding yourself back. You got self-worth. Some of you might be dealing with issues of self-worth. Maybe you don't feel like you deserve this new beginning. You don't deserve this opportunity. Maybe you feel like you're going to be judged. You also got victim, and we're going to pull one more card. Self-worth, victim, and bittersweet. All right, some of you guys are really holding on to your old way of being. You're struggling to let go of your old self and to start this passionate new beginning. Some of you could be dealing with a fire sign. This is an Aries, Leo, or a Sagittarius. If it's not a person, and if this isn't you, this could just be energy in general. You're afraid to let go of whatever it is that's been very routine. You're afraid to trust your gut instincts. Some of you, if this is a love situation and you're trying to leave this love situation, I think you probably have been involved in a one-sided relationship. Could have been a narcissistic situation where maybe you know that you haven't been treated fairly by your partner. And you're afraid to leave them behind. There's a fear there that if you let this one go, what if there's no one who comes afterwards? What if no one chooses me if I let this person go? Yo, they might not be perfect, but I mean, they're good enough. And I'm sorry, but that whole mentality just is not gonna cut it anymore, especially not after this full moon. If you channel this energy and you flip this card around and you get the Page of Wands upright instead of reversed, you'll feel that energetic push to be excited about the possibility of meeting someone who actually accepts you for who you truly are. And instead, if you stay because you're afraid of the unknown, you're afraid of maybe never meeting anyone after this person, you're gonna be stuck in a relationship that doesn't make you feel happy or fulfilled. And this really has nothing to do with the person you've partnered up with. Maybe they've been terrible to you, and I'm not making excuses for them, but this isn't about them, this is about you. This full moon is about you, not them. And this really is signaling to your lack of self-worth. You actually do deserve better. You know you deserve better. And if you know that about yourself, this should feel like a bittersweet situation. Coming to that realization that maybe you've settled for something that is not in alignment with you may be sad. You probably have a long history with this person. You've gone through a lot. Maybe some of you have kids. Maybe some of you have broken up, gotten back together a few times. You may share a home with this person, a long, long history. Maybe you were friends at first and then you guys got together during this global pandemic and now maybe you're afraid the friendship is ruined. Whatever it is, this is a bittersweet realization that this person is not for you. And it's not the end of the world. And it might feel really sad at first because, again, maybe you put up with a lot of bullshit from this relationship. But the beautiful thing about this is you're realizing you're worth more. And they deserve more. Not that you're not good enough, but you both deserve to be with people who are for you, who are energetically in alignment with you. And I think once you can accept that, this will be an easier space for you to move forward from. Let's pull from the Moonology deck. We're going to pull a final card. Can we get a final card? Okay, we have two. Your dreams need a practical plan. Sorry, I just had to make sure I was reading it correctly. And interesting, you have a new romantic cycle begins. Told ya. This is exactly what I mean. Your dreams need a practical plan. How are you supposed to settle down if you're choosing to stay with someone that you know deep, deep, deep down inside isn't for you? Your dreams need a practical plan. So, step one, admit to yourself that this ain't it. Step two, grow the courage to have a conversation with this person. It's not about make wrong, it's just about owning the fact that it just isn't it. And then once you guys can have that conversation, recognize that the moment you let go is the moment you open yourself up to the possibility of a new romantic connection. So it might suck. It might suck in the beginning. Might suck in the beginning. And again, we've got the tiger's eye crystal. Courage. It takes courage to be honest. It takes courage to be true. So channel the energy of the tiger's eye crystal and have that conversation that you have been avoiding. All right, guys. And that is for the tiger's eye crystal. Our next reading is for the black tourmaline crystal. If you chose the black tourmaline crystal, this is your message. Let's pull a card. Black tourmaline. Wow, okay, we have the 7 of Swords upright. What are you guys trying to get away with? What is the truth that you're keeping hidden, that you're pretending doesn't exist, that you're trying to just sweep under the rug and keep it moving? Let's see. This doesn't even have to be lies or deception to another person. It really could just be to yourself as well. You might have convinced yourself about a particular thing that isn't actually true. If this is to another person, it could be that you are just telling whoever you're in connection with what they want to hear in order to make them feel better, because you yourself don't know what the hell you're doing. Now, if this is in a job, it could be that, you know, your employer may have asked you, hey, can you take care of X, Y, Z? And deep down inside, you don't want to say yes. You want to tell them no. But instead, you say yes because you don't want to lose your job. You're afraid they might get upset with you or angry with you. You're afraid that maybe they might not give you any opportunities to move up. Wow. So we have trickery and we have guilt that came out. For some of you, if this is for employment, it could be that you feel like you owe this person something. Oh man, I'm so thankful because they're the ones who got me the job to begin with. So if they're asking me to do something, hell yes, I have to say okay. Of course I'm going to do it. Why wouldn't I? I wouldn't be where I am right now if it wasn't for this person. Same thing goes for personal relationships. Oh, I can't say no. There's no way I can say no to the bold request of this individual, because what kind of person would that make me if I were to say no, even though I know that deep down, I don't want this? Trickery. Who are you fooling? Because you're not fooling yourself. You're certainly not fooling them. They can sense that there's something happening beneath the surface. Maybe they haven't spoken to you about it yet, but I'm telling you, it's coming. So if you think you're fooling them, you're not. And on top of that, you're not fooling yourself. Must suck to live an inauthentic life, huh? Trust me, been there, done that. And you're making yourself trapped. You're trapped in a situation that you never needed to be trapped in at all. Recovery. Where is it that you need to heal a trauma that took place that's making you feel like you have to say yes all the time? Go back, way back in time, into your history, as far back as you can remember. Where is it that you experienced a trauma where you were maybe shamed for having a different opinion? Where maybe you were told that you were a crappy person for feeling the way that you felt? Where is it that you were told that you were ungrateful? Have your parents ever called you an ungrateful child? Did your teachers ever call you ungrateful? Did your friends ever make fun of you and call you entitled? Where is it that you have felt like just saying the word no will immediately make you a terrible person. There's a difference between not being grateful and saying no because it doesn't serve you, it's not in alignment with you, it doesn't feel good to you, and it's an act of personal boundaries, which in essence is an act of self-care. There's a huge difference. And I think you got it in your head that saying no makes you a bad person. And instead, you're doing things behind the scenes to fulfill whatever it is that you actually want for yourself. And you're trying to get away with it while trying to maintain an outside facade to the people who are involved in this situation. Can I get a final card? A personal issue reaches resolution. And what did I say, guys? Both readings, no matter which you chose, whether it's the Black Tourmaline crystal reading or the Tiger's Eye reading, both readings still go back to the same thing, which is inner work. The first reading was all about your personal relationship with yourself and your ability to remove yourself from a possible relationship that you know is no longer for you. And that's about you. Getting true with yourself about why you choose to stay in something you don't want to be in. This next reading is, again, a personal issue. What kind of relationship do you have with the word no? And how is that affecting your ability to show up authentically in every facet of your life, whether in family relations, friendships, love, work? I'm really getting work here. It's really time. I'm going to pull one more. It's really time because the other reading got two. I'm going to pull one more. It really is time, though, for you to travel back to that scary place, that place that you told yourself you never want to go back to, you never want to revisit. That is the exact place that you need to be looking in to discover why it is that you are running from that. What are you afraid of that person? And to that, I say, whoever was involved in creating that fear, more than likely, they're no longer in your life. And even if they are in your life, you are no longer living within the same circumstance that that incident happened to you in. If that happened to you when you were a child, boo-boo, you ain't a child no more. And so it's really unfair and such a disservice to you to be behaving in such a way that was conducive to the 7-year-old, but not to the 30, 40, 50, 60 plus year old that you may be now. The card that fell out is luck is on your side. This is beautiful. So if this does have to do with employment, let's say you're still stuck in a job that is no longer serving you and you're finding it really hard to disengage and pull yourself back to start something new, baby, luck is on your side. And it's time for you to honor this incredible energy that the universe is waiting to give to you as long as you finally choose yourself first. That's it, guys. Just choose yourself first. That's what this full moon is really going to be about. And it feels like this video was a little bit longer than normal. If you stayed with me throughout the whole reading, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate all of you. Cheers to another full moon. Cheers to the Taurus birthdays. Cheers to the May Gemini birthdays that are coming up. And cheers to you guys for being so courageous, for choosing to go on that spiritual journey, for choosing that dark night of the soul, for choosing to face the scariest parts that you hold deep, deep, deep down within you, that you yourself are afraid of. It takes a lot for you to turn your life around. It takes a lot to constantly choose authenticity. And even if, life has been great so far and you don't find anything, you don't sense anything that needs transforming immediately, I promise you, let the full moon happen. Ride the wave of emotions. Mars is in Cancer. The full moon is in Scorpio. Yo, we got double water. If you are telling yourself you're not going to be emotional, you're kidding yourself right now. There's no way you're not going to be triggered. There's no way you're not going to be emotional. You will be. And when you are, it's okay. Turn this video back on and watch it and empower yourself and realize, feelings are not going to kill you. They're just feelings, they're just emotions. But the problem is when you repress them and you internalize them, you don't transmute them into something that will work for you, you end up creating trauma on top of the trauma. Now, you don't want that. Because the longer you go on creating trauma on top of trauma on top of trauma, you're going to pass that on to the next generation. And whoever comes after you in your lineage, you did that. You did that. So do all the healing work that you want to do right now so that your future, the future seeds that come from you, no longer have to deal with the same things you dealt with for X amount of time. All right, guys, this was a deep one. I appreciate you all so much for joining me again. I love the fact that I am back on this cool schedule. I think I finally found something that really works for me, something that feels good to me, and that's a commitment to come on camera for every new moon period, for every full moon period. So in another 2 weeks or so, you guys can definitely expect to get another new moon update in May. For all of you who resonate with this message, I know it sounds so counterintuitive to do it, but I mean, I'm a participant in this social reality too. So if this message did resonate with you, I would appreciate a like and a subscribe and hit that notification bell because your girl finally knows what she's doing. I appreciate you all. Have a fantastic full moon, and I will catch you guys for my monthly May tarot scopes coming soon. Bye.